Southern California's Filipino Sari-Sari store and SoCal Filipinos presents Kababayan Spotlight. Today's guest is Romeo Garcia from Romeo Chocolates. Please welcome SoCal Filipinos founder, Jason Lustina.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so excited to be your host for today's Kababayan Spotlight. I actually haven't hosted one of these, but I'm really excited to bring our special guest today. First off, before we get started, I do want to thank all of you for being a part of SoCal Filipinos. I know last week we celebrated 50,000 members. Crazy to even know that we have that many. And actually today we crossed 52,000 members. Blows my mind. I'm so happy that you all have found a community within SoCal Filipinos. And shout out to Southern California Sari-Sari Store who are doing this program in conjunction. But let's get to our conversation and our special guest. We have a special guest down in Long Beach. If you haven't been out there, we're going to talk to him today. But let's welcome Romeo Garcia from Romeo Chocolates. Hey, Rome, how are you?
Awesome. Hey, Jason. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for hosting us today and having us join. Welcome, folks. Welcome, SoCal Filipinos.
No, thank you for making time. I know it's busy. I know we were trying to do this over Valentine's Day, but which I didn't realize. I should have known. It's one of the busiest times, but I'm glad we're able to talk today.
Right. Likewise. Well, we're very excited to share, what we do out here over in Long Beach.
Yeah, I know you were just on vacation, so you're well rested, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Where did you go again? I think it was someplace nice and exotic.
Right. Well, it was partly vacation, but it's also partly to just learn more about our craft. I was in Costa Rica. So in Costa Rica, Jason, my goal was to understand the cacao farms, the supply chain, and making sure that we're farmers equitably sourced, fair trade chocolates, and that we're running people throughout the supply chain. My hope is the lessons that we're learning from Ecuador, Costa Rica, Hawaii, that we take these lessons and bring them to our heritage islands of the Philippines and figure out how we can source chocolates to scale from our home islands.
Oh, wow. That business and pleasure in Costa Rica. How fun, how fun. But here, we actually want to learn a little bit more about you. So talk to us a little bit about your upbringing. I know that you grew up in Oxnard. So shout out to anybody from Oxnard. Post in the comments right now. But tell us a little bit about you growing up in Oxnard.
Well, welcome folks who are joining us from Oxnard, California. You're right, Jason. I did grow up in Oxnard, California, but I was actually born in the Philippines.
Oh, okay.
And so I was in the Philippines up till I was 5 years old, but most of my educational upbringing has been in Oxnard, California. And so as a Batangueño, I had to relearn. I'd learned English coming here into the U.S., do all my schooling here. And I'll share a little bit later how I became a chocolatier, but my educational background has not been a chocolatier for certain. And so I had a different pathway that my parents had encouraged me to follow for a bit.
So you came from the Philippines. You grew up in Oxnard. Again, shout out to Oxnard. You went to Oxnard High School, correct?
I did. Now, some folks that are on this call might have gone to Channel Islands or Rio Mesa. Much love to them too, but I'm from Oxnard High School, the Yellow Jackets. Right?
So like you completed that. What happened right after high school?
So after high school, I knew for certain that as a first generation Filipino family that college was important for us. But the hard part is our parents communicating how important college is, but us not knowing how to actually do it. And so I was very lucky to have a great college advisor who encouraged me to apply. And through good luck and hard work in high school, I was able to get to UC Santa Barbara. And so at UC Santa Barbara, which honestly, Jason, felt so far, but now I look at it, it's like only 30 minutes away from Oxnard, but it's a whole other community. And over there, I really gravitated towards equity and social justice. And so my background is in Black studies, studying Afro-Caribbean resistance movements. I also studied Polynesian and Filipino studies. So my background has always been in ethnic studies and social justice. And throughout, ever since I graduated from UC Santa Barbara, I became a college advisor. And so I've been helping other students, other college students, not just get into college, but actually finish. So Jason, I've sent them to Cornell, I've sent them to UCLA, USC, and then I'm a little bit older now, so now they come back and they tell me where they're at in their careers, that they finished their master's or doctorate. They introduce me to their kids, which is a big trip for me too, Jason. Yeah, so it just has come full circle in working in education.
Well, it's funny because you went to UC Santa Barbara, I went to UC Irvine, and I know there was a big contingency from Irvine that goes to UC Irvine. So shout out to UCI. So you were advising kids in college, and then when did you realize you wanted to become a chocolatier?
I think it was still midway through my educational career, because one of the ways that the college shows you're doing a program well is that they award you more programs to do at the college. And so I went from one program with 300 students and a $2.1 million federal grant to 17 programs and managing multi-million-dollar college programs to help students. And so on a whim, I just thought, well, I should probably relax and unwind on my weekends. So on Sunday, I decided I'm just going to take culinary courses just to do something completely different from what I do on my Monday, Friday. And Jason, I fell in love with it. I took all the chocolate courses the chef had. It was like in his loft in downtown San Francisco. And he told me, Romeo, I don't have any more classes for you to take. You've taken all my chocolate classes. So I went back to the college, and I was in a doctorate program at the time. I gave both of them notice that, hey, I think I'm going to go on a sabbatical and take a break from higher ed, and I'm going to fly myself directly to Belgium. And so it was in Belgium, Jason, that I studied chocolates. So I went to Brussels, I went to Antwerp. I looked at the chocolate shops in Paris and in Rome, and I said, why does this not exist in SoCal? Why does it not exist in Long Beach? And so I marched to the 4th Street of City Hall in Long Beach, and I licensed my business. And we were operating Cottage Food B. It was my 1-bedroom apartment, making chocolates in my kitchen until we grew to scale. And then we opened this commercial factory and this chocolate shop.
Oh my gosh, sounds amazing. And I don't know, my mouth is starting to water just as we're talking about chocolate.
I know, I wish you were here so I could do some tweets.
Yeah, I've had your chocolates. I've seen you a couple times. So, but I will have to make a visit. So would you say that you had your formal training also in Europe? Because it sounds like you also did it in San Francisco and Europe.
Yes. I did. And one of the things I wanted to do as I studied chocolates is because it's a non-traditional career path for a lot of folks. And I wanted to make sure that I studied with the world's best chocolatiers and chefs. So that way, the pedigree that we're building for our chocolate shop really has a legacy rooted in the culinary traditions that was happening in Europe. And so I did study in Brussels, in Chicago. I studied in Las Vegas with some prominent pastry chefs and chocolatiers. And some of the exciting new language that's coming around fine chocolate, even though Europe may be the epicenter in terms of how these movements develop, it's the countries of origin that my heart is at. So really sourcing from the Philippines, from Ecuador, from Costa Rica, and making sure that our communities and our farmers actually get to taste the end product. A lot of times in the Philippines, we taste cacao or tablea, but we don't really get to taste that chocolate bar unless it's manufactured in Europe or here in the US. And then it tastes a little bit different. But what we're trying to do is create a movement within Philippines chocolate that has, a final product that's created out of our home country.
No, this all sounds amazing. But first off, I just want to welcome everybody that's just joining us. Thank you for joining us for Kababayan Spotlight, presented to you by Southern California Sari Sari and SoCal Filipinos. We have some comments, a lot thanking you for all that you do for the community. Actually, we have a couple people saying, hey,
great.
Romeo, thanks for all that you did for our community. Thanks for all you've done and are doing for our community. The people shouting out some of their schools, UCLA, Irvine, USC. We're UCs, so UCs
hey,
united,
folks.
never divided.
Yeah, and there might be some Zeta Phi Rho folks out there. So hello, Zeta Phi Rho. Hello, KP folks, if you're on the call as well, too.
Zeta Phi Rho. Do you know my cousin Adele?
Probably, yes.
He's from
we know Adele.
Long Beach. So anyway, shout out Adele.
Yeah.
I know he was part of that fraternity. So you started to feel for that passion of chocolate from your education, going to your trip to Europe and your training in Las Vegas. What was your parents' reaction when you told them that you wanted to leave higher ed and want to start making chocolate? I can imagine, just because obviously our typical, they want us to become a doctor or an engineer, the big one, a nurse. or even a postman because you get pension benefits. But what was
Hey,
their
you get government benefits, right?
right? So
Right.
what
It's
was their
funny you asked that,
reaction?
Jason. I had a feeling you might ask that. Well, I actually did finish my career and my bachelor's, and I felt like I satisfied that for my parents because ultimately I was able to complete my college degree. I finished my master's too, and I was a college counselor for a very long time. I did it for 15 plus years, and
Oh
even
wow.
became a dean of a college. So all of my siblings and I'm one out of six kids, Jason. So we're a big family from
Oh
Oxnard,
wow.
and so all of us had different career aspirations. One of us became an attorney. A couple of us became engineers. Several of us are in medicine, and I was the one that was in higher ed and human rights organizing. I've always been a
Mhm.
non-traditional person, though, and so I've always believed in social justice, even if it meant that I was directing profits for no pay or very little pay or getting paid in lumpia. It was totally okay with me because I really believe in our community. I really believe in what we're doing. So I've always had very non-traditional career aspirations anyway. When I changed to going into culinary and chocolates, I actually kept it to myself, Jason, for about 5 years. And so I slowly kind of worked on the concept because one thing about my parents is you present the information once it's ready because they want to know first and foremost that you're okay, financially stable, and that
Mhm.
I have my bearings to approach it. Because as a small business owner, I mean, there's really very few workshops for entrepreneurship.
Mhm.
And even if there are, it's mostly on the technical for the dollars that are on this right now, a lot of it going to small business and being an entrepreneur is the grit, the resiliency, the being able to sometimes fall on your face and figure out how do I pick myself back up again. And so that I
Mhm.
want to really train myself before I publicly announce to my parents, hey, I'm leaving my career at 15 years and I'm going to become a chocolatier. So my mom was very supportive because she was a teacher as well, but she also had a sari sari store. She makes the best
Mhm.
ice candy. She makes the best banana turon. She trained me on some of her recipes. So she gets it and she understands the passion behind it. But it's really hard because you're telling your parents that you're going to switch careers altogether. And so I kept it to
Mhm.
myself for a while. And a lot of times is I just want to make sure things have fully materialized before I manifest it to the universe, before I speak it out. But in parts of
Mhm.
manifesting to universe, you have to speak it out and you have to tell folks about it. So hopefully they can believe in your passion and support you throughout the way. And so
Yeah.
whether that be the community or my parents. So when I finally told my parents, because we were doing more pop-ups out of my one-bedroom apartment, my mom said, okay, let's go. What do we need to do? What do we need to make? And so she actually helped me in making chocolates that first year when we were doing pop-ups. And so
Wow.
she went to pop-ups with me. She sold chocolates in Long Beach with me. Everyone in the community knows her as Mama Chocolates. And so she loves it. When we had our busiest Valentine season, the one bedroom apartment, my brothers and my siblings were all along the stairwell packaging. I was making chocolates in the kitchen. My mom and my niece were labeling the chocolates until my mom misspelled Belgium and I had to give her a different task. And so
Oh
the whole
no.
family, the whole family has been very involved in this. My dad's
Did
kind of a little bit harder. He's a little more traditional, so I wasn't sure how he was going to take it. So when we were bursting at the seams in the one bedroom apartment and we signed for this lease here in this 1,200 square foot space, we had to build it from scratch into a kitchen. And so I
Mhm.
told my dad, hey, I'm really pursuing this career and I want to build this chocolate shop. I'm cashing out my teacher's retirement. We launched a successful Kickstarter campaign and we started building our shop. But I'm not a contractor. I don't know how to build things. And so my dad joined me 3 o'clock in the morning, helping me do electrical. I now know how to do
Wow.
drywall and lighting. Jason, I put those up there.
Oh
All
wow.
those things there with the support of my dad and our volunteers. And so my dad is probably a lot like other Filipino parents. He won't tell you I love, you, but he'll show you different ways of how much he cares. And he was here with me several times helping me build this shop. And now we're going into 3 shops. And to this day, my dad checks in and asks how our shop is doing. My mom is very supportive as well. And they know that at the heart of it, I'm a community organizer at heart. I'm just grateful that we're
Mhm.
able to build a space where the community can congregate, come in, hang out, enjoy a sweet treat, or build a community event with me. I mean, that's really the joy that this space gives us.
Yeah. No, I love it that your business is Filipino owned, Filipino built, literally, from the
Right, right.
drywall and to the lightings. And maybe, I mean, I know we talked a little bit about it, but we'll for sure start planning something. We could do a SoCal Filipinos meetup there. So that way we could get the group and all the community out there
We'll
to
love to.
taste all your chocolates. So kind of let's kind of go back a little bit because you
Right.
kind of hinted at that. You talked about um, when did you decide to open your business, and like what was that whole process? You kind of talked a little bit about you
Right.
and your dad.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it might be a different era now because it's really hard to jump into a brick and mortar right off the bat. From what I've seen of entrepreneurs, Filipino and other Black Indigenous people of color, is that we're oftentimes first generation and we have limited financial resources to figure out how to scale. So a lot of us did pop-ups at first. So for the first 3.5 years, Jason, I was a pop-up and I would go to different retailers and hotels that would host me. When we started getting hotel clients, wedding clients, and our regulars kept saying, we want to buy all the chocolates you're making, I had to figure out how to grow to scale. And that's when we opened up this shop. But all of these was organic baby steps. And I've never really wanted to rush the process and to embrace kind of the learning curve too. So it took us for us to build this shop. We're happy to say, Jason, we're celebrating our 5-year anniversary at this shop.
Oh, wow.
In baby steps, we built an annex store near Long Beach Airport. So we're at Long Beach. My team does a fantastic job over there helping our guests. And we're happy to share that this Saturday actually will be our soft launch to our third store that we're opening in Long Beach. And that will be a collective co-working space for myself and other Filipino entrepreneurs.
No, that's great. That's great. So you have 3 locations now. 2.5.
Yes, we're about to open our third location, 2.5. So we're about to open it this Saturday. And we're partnering with other Filipino businesses, artisans, and chefs. And it's going to be an exciting new event space here at Long Beach. If folks are interested in learning more, it's at kubo.lb on Instagram.
Yeah, kubo.lb. We'll make sure that we post it in SoCal Filipinos.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
We have a couple more comments. I just want to go through. Mimi says,
Yeah.
wow, gotta try this place. For sure. Try the chocolates for sure. Jerry Lou says, love Romeo's Chocolates.
Thank you.
Karen and Tim say hello.
Hello.
And I believe the Nurse Unseen team is on also because they said, yes, Jason was there at Romeo Chocolates for our Nurse Unseen fundraiser. Thank you both. But since we're at your store, do you want to give us a quick tour of your store? Because I know you do more than chocolates.
Yeah, I'm happy to give you a tour. Yeah, so bear with me. I don't know if this can reverse or not, but I'm going to do my best to give you a tour on here. But first and foremost, we're on historic Pine Avenue. And so I'm going to show you behind me the Pine Avenue sign here. And the historic Pine Avenue means we're in the downtown corridor of downtown Long Beach. Here at our chocolate shop, Romeo Chocolates. This is our 1,200 square foot space where we serve truffles, beer, wine, desserts, have different musical events happening here as well too. So folks, welcome into our space. As you come in, there's comfortable seating for folks to enjoy their treats, have a glass of wine, have some chocolates. We do have different gift items from our chocolates and also the wine and beer that we carry, and also our different artisan partners here in Long Beach. But most importantly, if you guys can see behind there, we actually make all our chocolates here in-house. So those are our European chocolate machines. We make every single truffle from scratch. The truffles that I'm referencing are the ones that are here in this case. And so all of these are handcrafted by myself and our team. And so these truffles here are primarily Belgian chocolates, and now we're sourcing Ecuador. Our hope is that we could expand to Costa Rica and also Philippine chocolate as well too. So that's primarily our store. Again, we're hybrid, and so we serve beer and wine as well too. And so we partnered with different Sonoma, Napa wineries, and now French wineries to carry wines that we pair each one of our wines with different chocolates. And Jason, I have the hard job of tasting every single wine and making sure there's a truffle that pairs with it. It's really tough, but someone has to do it. So all of our wines has a complimentary pairing suggestion with our chocolates as well too. Yeah, so that's a little bit of a tour of our shop that we have here. We do other pastry items, brownies, cookies, chocolate dipped strawberries. And you're right, Jason. I mean, Valentine's was just super busy. And so gift boxes, depending on if it's like a 4-piece gift box to a 12-piece, can visit our shop here. We actually ship nationwide. So if they go to RomeoChocolates.com, we could ship these treats out to them.
That's perfect. I mean, for those who are not within Long Beach area, they can order your chocolate. So we'll make sure we plug that. And I know that that you have some of your items are Filipino inspired, right? think Romeo, I think we have you're frozen a little bit. Maybe I lost you. Let me see. Well, as we figure out his internet connection, we're just going to talk a little bit more about Romeo. Romeo actually, like he said, he's in downtown LA. I had the privilege of attending some of the events that he has hosted. And I mean, they've been phenomenal. I mean, the chocolate, you could get wine there. So, I mean, for sure, we'll have to do a SoCal Filipinos meetup there. He has several flavors that are Filipino inspired. I know he has like the calamansi mojito. I know it sounds like some of you have tried calamansi truffles. I believe there was also, when I did my research before, like speaking to Romeo, that he also sometimes has a secret menu. I know that there was like a halo halo one time, so we'll have to figure that out when he comes back. I'm sure he's figuring that out. But as we wait for him to come back, we do have some events that SoCal Filipinos is hosting next Saturday in partnership with Island Pacific in honor of Lumpia Day, which happens next Wednesday. We're doing a lumpia eating contest. So who out there loves lumpia and who thinks that they could actually eat the most in under a minute? The top prize is $500. There is, if you could find the post in the SoCal Filipinos group, free registration, and the event, the in-person event, will be hosted at Island Pacific. Speaking of Oxnard, and that's where Romeo's from, in the Island Pacific in Oxnard. So I hope to see all of you there. We're also in partnership with Mix. We are going to be doing a special live taping of Keith Pedro's comedy special. So make sure to keep an eye out in the group, and then we'll let you know. We are only maxing that event out to 100 people. So once the registration is out there, make sure to sign up right away because the tickets will sell out. And then don't forget about the Clippers game, Filipino Heritage Night. And that's on March 29th. And I'm excited to have Romeo back. Hey, Romeo.
Thank you. Sorry, had some connection issues there.
No worries. So before you fell off, we were talking about like, how do you incorporate Filipino culture into what you make and what you do?
Right. So there's a couple answers to that. In terms of Filipino culture on the culinary side, we do have some Filipino heritage flavors that have been inspired from our culture. The first one is calamansi mojito. And so I was gifted a bottle of rum from the Philippines from my dad. And I've never opened it. And I thought, I think I could use this in one of my recipes. So I used that rum, used some calamansi puree, steeped some mint, and made calamansi mojito. Lately, we've been hanging out with Tomas from Don Papa Rum. Probably a lot of folks on this call know Tomas. This guy is pure energy, pure community, and such a good heart. And so we actually partnered with Don Papa Rum on our calamansi mojito truffle, our Don Papa rum truffle. We have an ube daiquiri that we also partner with Don Papa as well too. Teofilo Coffee might be on this call. They're from Los Alamitos. So I'm Batangueño, so I love Barako coffee. Like the darker, the better. So we source Barako coffee from Ron and Teofilo Coffee, and we make a Filipino mocha using Barako coffee. So those are some of our heritage inspirations are in our chocolates. For a limited time, we actually had tablea here. And so I was making tablea sipping chocolate for our guests. And that's why I want to go back to Philippines so I could source more tablea as well. Special events, if Flip Family is here, if Jen is here on this call, we made champurrado together using the Instapot.
I was going to say, do you have the tablea? Did you bring rice so you could make
champurrado? Yeah, I
champurrado?
brought sticky rice. I used my Lola's recipe and we made champurrado together with the Instapot and the authors of the Instapot Filipino cookbook. So that was a lot of fun. But lastly, what I wanted to share, Jason, is that a lot of our Filipino culture is not just in the recipe, but it's also in the notion of hospitality. And so a lot of times for our Filipino folks, when they come in here, it says chocolate is our love language on that sign there. I absolutely mean it because when folks come in, I want them to sit, enjoy, linger, and I want them to feel the hospitality, not just from me, but also our staff as well too. We really enjoy when visitors come in and that they're enjoying our treats. It's such a notion in the Filipino community to offer that sense of welcome. And so I hope folks feel that when they come to our space.
No, that's great. And it's funny because I'm starting to learn a little bit more about Filipino chocolatiers. It seems like there's more and more starting to come out. So what does it
Yes.
mean to be a Filipino and a chocolatier?
Well, there's more and more coming out there, but there's still less than a handful of us out there. It's a very non-traditional career. We are seeing a lot more executive chefs that are coming in from the Filipino community. But there's actually two industries in the chocolate world. There's bean to bar, and so our good friends over in Northern California are making some bean to bar chocolates with ulalali. There's some from the Philippines that's making great bean to bar, so they're actually working from the cacao bean. And then there's confectioners or chocolatiers such as myself. So there's myself here in Long Beach with Romeo Chocolates. There's Jade Chocolates in San Francisco, and there's so many more up and coming chocolatiers that are growing. And so if there's folks on this call who are looking for non-traditional careers and looking to go into chocolates, feel free to contact me. I would love to share what I've learned either through technical training or through hard knocks. I love to share our industry and our craft.
We have a couple questions.
Yeah.
One is, do you have to make a reservation or is walk-ins available? I believe it is walk-in, right?
I appreciate folks asking that. And a lot of it too is since March 2020, we've had to pivot. I don't even know how many times we've had to change our dining layout or in our outdoor parklet because we want to keep our guests safe and we want to keep our team safe. The new mandates without having to wear masks if you're vaccinated has helped us out too. So literally just within this week, we've opened up our indoor dining. You don't need to make reservations. You can just come in. We're happy to help you. We had chocolate cabanas, Jason, for a while outside. I think you were here when we had the cabanas. Yeah. Those got booked all the time because everyone wanted their cabanas out here. But we've removed our parklet in light of the changes of the guidelines. But please, folks, feel free to come on in anytime you want. If you have a special event, it's a birthday, an anniversary, feel free to call our store or shoot me an email, romeo@romeochocolates.com. Our team likes to know if you have like a big ceremony that you want us to celebrate with you, and we'll do something special for you as well.
I think this next question, a lot of people are asking, how do we get a sample?
Right. Well, if you end up going to Kubo, LB's soft opening event, where Romeo Chocolates Reserve Collection is opening, and this is our other gift shop where I'm featuring rare chocolates that's not traditionally served in other chocolate shops. And so that's going to be the first test pilot to launch our new chocolates. If you come to this event, 12 o'clock to 5, I'm giving away 20 free gift bags of chocolate treats. So the first 20 folks that come this Saturday, mention you saw us on SoCal Filipinos. I have 20 gift bags of chocolates for you, some that I haven't even released yet in Southern California. So please come by and check out Kubo's event this Saturday. And if you see me here at the shop, just tell me, do you like milk chocolate, dark chocolate? I'm happy to share with you a Belgian chocolate treat. A lot of times too, we just want to help people identify, well, what's your palate? What do you like? There's no right or wrong answers, Jason. Sometimes folks come in, they're like, well, I like milk chocolate. I like dark chocolate. And I'm like, great, you're an equal opportunity chocolate lover. I have that for you. I'll take care of you. So just feel free to ask our team. They're happy to show you our chocolate creations. Join us this Saturday, 12 to 5 at Kubu, 345 East Carson Street in Long Beach. And we have 20 free gift bags for the first folks who join us.
Okay, we're all going to be fighting for that first spot in line
right.
So we get the bag. But before we go, so how do you come up with your new ideas, flavors? What's your creative process?
My creative process is one, tasting the flavor profiles of the chocolate. And that's just through a lot of training that we had to do and tasting chocolates in Belgium, literally in blinders. And we had to taste all the different chocolates and write our notes. So I've trained my palate a little bit on that. Sometimes through different things I taste, wine and coffee, it inspires me as well. But a lot of it's through travel, Jason. It's just exploring new cultures. When I went to Hawaii, like passion fruit, lilikoi is so popular. And so I created a lilikoi truffle. We're in Southern California, so churros is the big craze in Southern California. So I created a churro truffle, and I make a cinnamon sablé cookie. So as you bite through the truffle, there's a little bit of a churro flavor in there as well. So it really depends on where I travel and what I'm inspired by. Some of the new things that we're creating, because I know some folks on this call are also plant-based or vegan. And so it's also depending too on what our community is looking for. So we try to really just accommodate everyone's palate. But yeah, you're right, Jason. I mean, a lot of it's just influenced by travel, influenced by alchemy, and me just tasting and trying different flavor profiles.
You know, it's funny because like I'm a baker, so that's actually exactly the same way as my process and like how I come up with new flavors and new flavors for cookies, cheesecakes, and breads. It's
Yeah, right.
really just like travel, or even
Yeah.
sometimes I just roam the aisles at the Filipino grocery store, whether if it's Island Pacific or Season City, and I just get inspired.
If anyone's at Island Pacific, Long Beach, I'm always there, just getting new inspiration ideas and also picking up my lunch from their turo.
And really quick, you had mentioned, before we went live that you went to the Philippines. Was it the Philippines that you went for a documentary? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so we partnered with this great documentary videographer with Great Pacificar. And if folks go onto YouTube and just search Romeo Chocolates, there's 3 videos on there. And it's really sharing the story of the farmers and the makers of tablea, the Bean to Bar movement that's happening in Mindanao, and where we're currently at with our movement that's happening here at Long Beach. A lot of it too, Jason, is in this supply chain. It's not just the chocolatier or the Bean to Bar makers who need that attention or deserve that attention. It really should be the farmers. It really should be the countries of origin. And I really wanted to draw attention that cacao and chocolate is not an easy process to make. There's a lot of labor and love that's involved in that. If anyone grew up in the Philippines or Hawaii and been around sugarcane, like we use a lot of natural sugars in our chocolates too. The process of getting sugarcane is also very hard, and it has a long history in the Filipino community as well. So we really wanted to show that in the documentary. They're not long. They're honestly 3-minute videos. And so if folks want to go onto YouTube, check out Romeo Chocolates. There's 3 videos on there where we're showcasing that experience.
No, thank you. I'll make sure that I check it out. But so, final question for you.
Right.
What do you want to say to those that want to become a chocolatier or own their own business?
Well, in regards to owning a small business, just kind of like on a macro scale, is to identify really what is your core passion and have that as your guiding light in terms of why you want to go in that direction, because it won't necessarily be easy. And for folks on this call who aspire to be entrepreneurs, continue on that passion, but don't overly romanticize it like I sometimes do. Like, it is a lot of fun running your own small business, but there are times you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning. There's times you're doing all this administrative paperwork. So just be prepared that along with that romance, along with that shine, comes a lot of grit, a lot of hard work. And so that's part of it as well too. Build a dream team. I've had amazing volunteers, supporters, colleagues who have helped me build this chocolate shop. I have amazing assistant chefs and team members who are serving our guests here, and I could hear them laughing and smiling here too. And so a lot of my inspiration comes from my staff as well too. I'm very grateful that they've stayed safe throughout. And so really build that dream team with you. And the last thing that I want to share, especially in regards to our Filipino community, is develop a life-work balance. A lot of times we've been worked to just grind, hustle, and we forget that at the end of it too, like, we have our own fundamental human needs and our self-care rituals that we really need to implement. So as you become an entrepreneur, take time to have balance. Make sure that you take a step away from all the hard work that you've been doing, acknowledge it, and know where you need to grow. Give yourself a lot of grace. In small business, it's not always going to be perfect. So give yourself a lot of grace, give yourself a lot of patience, and just kind of grow organically. That's what we've been trying to do. There's no hard and fast rule of how to be successful. Just know it's very protracted. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of time. But yeah, those would probably be the things that I would share with folks now. Build a dream team around you. Be caring and kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself as you grow.
No, thank you for that. That's great advice. Yeah. And Romeo, you're such an inspiration, especially for people like me who are doing the cottage route. And,
right.
And actually, somebody had mentioned that we should do a collab. I'm like, we could talk about that later.
Yes, I'm down.
Another question that came up: cognac-filled chocolates? Question mark.
Yeah, let's do it. So we'll have to sample the cognac first.
Okay.
So we'll taste it. Yeah, we've been doing a lot more liquor-infused truffles too. We partnered with Portuguese Ben, so we did do a limited run gin. There's a lot of things that pair really nicely with chocolate. We're also mobile, so if anyone wants to host a beer and wine chocolate tasting at your home or your office, I can do that. We've also been invited to do whiskey and chocolate pairings. Whiskey is great with chocolates. And by the time you've tasted your 3rd, 4th whiskey, everything pairs beautifully and everyone's having a great time. So if you want to host a whiskey and chocolate tasting, I'm your guy. Happy to co-host it with you.
No, thanks. Romeo, thank you again for joining me and SoCal Filipinos in Southern California. Sorry, store. I know we went a little bit over our time, but it was such a great conversation. We're getting so much love in the comments right now. I'm just seeing everybody just saying hello, and they love your community work. They love what you do. Let's just plug it one more time. Where can they find you, and any other events that you want to plug one last time?
Absolutely. The easiest place to find me is romeochocolates.com. So if folks see me online, romeochocolates.com. Facebook and Instagram is at Romeo Chocolates. Now, if you happen to be in beautiful Long Beach, we're here in downtown on Pine Avenue. We're at Long Beach Exchange, and we're now opening in Bixby Knolls. So any Bixby Knolls folks out there, we're at 345 East Carson Street. But please feel free to visit us. Shoot me a message. I'm at romeochocolates.com. I don't necessarily want to plug the shop more than that. I just want to plug my gratitude and my thanks to the community. And you, Jason, you're doing amazing stuff to really bring attention to the creators, the artisans, the entrepreneurs. And I'm very grateful for you, Jason, for all that you're doing, and grateful for everyone here in SoCal Filipinos for supporting.
No, thank you. Thank you for that. Again, let's all thank Romeo for joining us.
My pleasure.
Stay tuned for future events, future Kababayan Spotlights. Just make sure you keep on checking the group, and especially the event tab. I've already mentioned several events, so hopefully we'll see you. We're at all of them. So have a good night, everybody. We'll see you.